I want to give a big shout out to Mile High Minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, they moving the crowd, man. It's the premier platform right now. I see them on the rise, man. We appreciate y'all.
Mile High Minute, #1 blog in the universe, man. Today we got a very special guest, one of the real greatest rappers of all time to come out of Denver. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, shit.
But one of the real I'd say founders of the scene as a whole. You know what I'm saying? At least from my perspective and from what I've heard around the city and stuff. You, one of the ones out here that kind of helped birth the culture in a way, or at least elevate it to new levels that people haven't seen before. You know what I'm saying? So
it's dope.
I appreciate you for coming on the show, man. Young Doe from MNLD.
What's happening?
Just living the dream, man. Trying to make something happen.
That's right. Hell yeah. Shit. It's a blessing. It's a journey.
Hell yeah. Well, I appreciate you for sitting down with me. You know, I've been wanting to do this for a minute, but I know you're a busy dude. You got a lot of ventures going and stuff like that. So, you know what I'm saying? I knew it wasn't going to be easy to get you to sit down, but I appreciate you for taking the time out your day.
It's all good.
All right, man. Well, let's just get into your backstory a little bit. So, first off, everyone go watch that MNLD Street Stars documentary. That's the title.
Yeah, Street Stars affiliated, MNLD.
Yeah, go watch that, because that's where a lot of my questions are going to be coming from, just doing the research on that and stuff. And it's on Tubi.
It's on Tubi and Amazon Prime.
Yeah. So that kind of really, just watching that was dope, just because I haven't really seen nothing like that out here from an artist. So that kind of helped me get some of the info and the questions I'm going to ask. So your parents originally from Mississippi and Tennessee, right?
Yeah, both of my parents is from Greenville, Mississippi, and they grew up in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they moved from Mississippi to Tennessee and then out here?
Yeah, I guess when they were teenagers, they grew up in Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, North Memphis, and my brother was born out there, and my mom was 4 or 5 months pregnant with me, and she moved to Denver. You know what I'm saying? I was born in Denver, born and raised.
What do you think brought them out to Denver? Because, at that time, I wasn't even born yet, but the city probably wasn't as popping as it is now,
Yeah, that's old school, so, I think that 79, 80, you know. So, my mom explained it her favorite aunt that she grew up around, who was really an inspiration to her, moved out to Denver with her husband because he moved to Denver for work.
Yeah.
And so she moved with her husband, and my mom originally was coming to visit. And so when she came to Denver to visit, it blew her mind. She was the quality of life was just amazing to her. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So she caught the Greyhound out to Denver and just never went back. She's like, I just didn't go back.
Oh, really?
You know what I'm saying?
So she just came out here, wasn't necessarily expecting to stay out here, but just loved it so much. So it wasn't even a whole moving process of getting stuff out here?
I don't know how detailed it got, but I use my imagination to that part, but she never discussed that. She was 19, 20 when she had me, so I imagine she didn't have much coming from where she, was, and so just considering her story. So
that must have been tough for her to kind of get the wheels rolling at that time, in the new city and stuff that young.
Yeah, for real. She had a few cousins and stuff that moved out of here, and so
she made it happen.
They got out there, you know what I'm saying, and built a life in Denver.
Hell yeah. You originally stayed in Park Hill and the East Side, or just Park Hill?
Yeah, both. I lived in Park Hill and the East Side. Growing up, my earliest memory, we lived in Park Hill, off of Holly, you know what I mean? So it was 36th and Holly. You know what I mean? These little apartments right on the corner. So that's where my earliest memories. I, still remember certain stuff. Even like that memory is real significant because I remember my mom having a record player, and I remember throwing up on it one time. She kept it in my room. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was just something that
Like a record player, like one of the ones with the big records that was spinning.
Yeah.
Was that one of your, would you say, like earliest music memories? I suppose.
Yeah, that's one of my earliest music memories. I mean, I was young. You know what I'm saying? I was so young. You probably wouldn't think I remember certain shit, but between the ages of 2 and 4, cause I used to be like, I used to give her hell, so I hop out the windows and shit like that. And when she wanna whip my ass, I used to hide under the bed, the bunk bed, and hold on, and she couldn't really get me from up under there. So I just remember moments like that. You know what I'm saying? Just that was connected to this apartment we lived in Park Hill. So that was that. And then we also lived on the east side, and we was always on the east side because my mom's aunt, this is my great aunt, lived on the east side. And so she always drop us off over there, when they go party and shit like that.
Yeah. And then when did you guys end up moving to Montbello?
We moved to Montbello like in '87. I was about 7 years old when I moved to Montbello. You know what I'm saying? And that was what it was. Once I moved to Montbello, I met so many people that was significant to my life, and it just felt like that's where it was at. This is what it is.
That's where like a lot of the music and the businesses and everything was really like taken to that next level. And
well, yeah, that's when that's where I was at when I started to explore more into, my creative side, like with music and stuff later on. But when I moved out there in 7, I was like, I was athletic, and so I was into football and fighting and flipping off houses and.
Like literally backflipping off houses?
Yeah. Okay. I used to flip off like the houses in Montbello.
Well, I was curious about that because in the documentary when you said that, I was like, was he flipping houses? Like, because there's like wholesaling and stuff.
Yeah, I know.
So I was like, is that what he means? But now, like, you were literally flipping off houses and shit.
Yeah, that's a good analogy though. Shit, you turn that into flipping houses, I guess, one day.
For real. So what led into y'all moving to Montbello?
I mean, it really wasn't. I don't think my mom moved there by choice or nothing though, but the dude she was dealing with, my stepdad, he moved out there or bought a house out there, and they was together and shit. That's what it was, and we lived out there, and shit.
What was Montbello like back in that time from your earliest memories compared to like now?
Montbello always been like a melting pot, you know what I'm saying? But it seemed like it wasn't as many Hispanics as it is now in Montbello. Just the culture as far as like when I was growing up, we used to be on bikes and playing outside and drinking out of water hoses, and you know what I'm saying?
You didn't have the internet and stuff as
you didn't. Yeah, when I was growing up, it was different. You know what I mean? You just really had to get out there and interact with people. You know what I'm saying? And that just changes over time. Things have changed and evolved, and you know what I mean. So, but Montbello, I always loved it. It was just, it's always was a beautiful environment to grow up in because there was a lot of people out there that I could relate to. It's a lot of people who came from Northeast Denver, came from the East Side, Park Hill, and moved to Montbello. And anyway, and then some people like that's where they started. But either way it go, it just was there was always this togetherness, this sense of unity for the most part in Montbello, and you could feel the culture. Like it seemed like kind of like a suburban area, but
Yeah.
it was deeper than that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you know, everybody, we had this language that go without saying. We was on the same page, and we understood the temperature of each other and who was who, and you know what I mean. Every different individual's reputation or their, you know, you just knew who was who. You know what I'm saying? It was different. You cannot really identify that shit because, you know, people won't take the risk to put themselves out there for something they really wasn't about. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you did, you know what I'm saying? You either gonna stay out the way or you just in the way because, you know, that's who you is, or, you know. It was different, you know.
What would you say are like some things that are Montbello culture that I guess you wouldn't necessarily see in other parts of the city or even just in general?
I mean, that's a tough one right there because I feel like in every neighborhood, you know, there's people who kind of like they have their own certain language, you know what I'm saying? And it's really about how they, you know, how they move and deal with each other, and I feel like that's everywhere. So I can't say I can't separate that because everybody got that, you know what I'm saying? But we, you know, we always show unity, you know what I'm saying, with each other, you know what I'm saying? But I understand, like, if we speaking Montbello, Park Hill, East Side, ACO, or whatnot, if you kind of speaking on it from just a Montbello perspective or whatnot, you know what I mean? It's hard to separate that, you know what I'm saying? The cultures was a little different. It was more gang culture on the East Side and Park Hill, so they had their own thing going on. And there was gangs in Montbello, but you know, it was a lot of hustlers and a lot of people who like grew up together, but some might be from different gangs, and you know what I'm saying, certain stuff calls for mediation, and it was the way people at Montbello bridge together with each other. It stood out, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like how me and my bros, you know, we was more known for our brotherhood, and it was something that was kind of, it was natural. It was just organic, you know what I'm saying? How it developed and it grew, you know what I'm saying? So, and you could notice it, like we didn't go out our way. It was meant to be, you know what I'm saying? So.
No, that's real. And to go off your point, from like what I've seen since I've been blogging, I've seen people be cool from like every neighborhood, regardless of color and whatnot. But like the first time I ever seen like two rappers in the city like have an issue, like come together and squash it, it was literally in Montbello. And like that was like the first time I ever seen that in person. I was like, damn, like hopefully, you know, the video drop soon at some point. But like, and it was just like a random vlog, like, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, I guess, intentional, but it was like a bunch of people came together and they showed love, and it was like, so I could see what you're saying, like, because I witnessed that to a certain extent, you know what I'm saying? And not to say it don't get like that anywhere else, but like I do see the unity in Montbello, you know, like as a city, it's almost like, and even when like I've done interviews out there and stuff, you know, people in the background, oh, like, this is Montbello, like, you know, just like showing a lot of pride and like love for the neighborhood and stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot of love and pride, and you know,
even with like the football team when they won state a couple years back, like.
Yeah, because you know we gonna rep with them. You know, what's crazy is when I was like, I know I ain't got on silver, but you know, this is Montbello colors, black and yeah, we gonna just say these are silver. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta say they silver. But yeah,
well, y'all, there was a parade when they won the state football, right? There was a parade. Like I don't think I've seen any other city do that out here. Like,
yeah, I probably don't remember the parade. I can't say I'm.
Yeah, it was like during the COVID year, they won like the spring state or something.
Yeah,
I seen all the
remember the parade.
So I guess it was pretty, like 3 years ago or something like that. Kind of a random question. I was on Facebook like a month ago, and someone said that the reason like there's a bunch of ditches in Montbello is because like before it became like its own neighborhood. It really feels like more of a city than like a neighborhood because it's kind of big for just like a neighborhood.
Mm.
But that it used to be like a landfill. Have you heard of this, or do you know why there's a bunch of ditches in Montbello?
I haven't heard that that's why it's ditches. I never really looked into that to
Okay.
be honest. I just shit. I embraced them.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were supposed to be there. You know, them was our little. Sometimes, you know, at nighttime growing up, we used to, when the police coming, we could get in the ditch
Yeah.
and hide under that little overbridge. Like, nigga, the police, that was somewhere to duck real quick until they passed, you know, sometimes. And, you know, we had ditches. Sometimes we'd hop on sleds when it rained and be in that thing,
Yeah.
floating down the river in a tube or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it flood, but yeah,
That's dope.
ditches help identify Montbello.
Yeah, because you don't really see that many ditches like in other parts of the city.
Yeah, we got ditches, not alleys, you know. We ain't got no alleys.
Right. Yeah. Does it seem like Montbello is like I mean, obviously it is like a newer neighborhood when you compare it to like the inner city. But does it seem like that to you? Like,
Montbello, I can't say exactly when Montbello was founded or was built, but, you know, you go back to like the late 70s and 80s and stuff, so I don't know. Yeah, it's obviously older than East Denver and Park Hill and all them places, so, yeah, it's always been all kind of new development building towards back that way, so yeah.
And then, real quick, what about Green Valley Ranch? Because, I mean, that seems even newer. Is that like its own city, or is that kind of partnered up with Montbello as far as like...
Nah, Green Valley is Green Valley, so we always just, you know, Montbello's Montbello, Green Valley's Green Valley. I could speak for me and some of the people who I, you know, grew up in the same area with. Green Valley, we went to this middle school called MLK, so you know, it's just real significant. A lot of, you know, knuckleheads that grew up together and people who built solid relationships with each other. We remember times that, you know, we all identify with MLK and all the great times, and sometimes we'd ditch, and it was certain people who lived in the Green Valley neighborhood that we knew, and but Green Valley is separate, you know.
Yeah.
It was always this big field that's separated, you know.
Right.
Montbello and Green Valley, you know, it was empty at first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And then it developed.
Yeah.
What about the old airport? Do you like remember the old airport? Because it used to be closer to Montbello, right?
Yep, it's over there where Northfield, it was Stapleton.
Yeah.
Northfield area, all that. And I remember that growing up, you know, I used to love going under that bridge that the planes used to go over, you know. That was definitely a landmark, you know what I mean? I wish they wouldn't have moved that, but when you think back on it, you like, damn, that shit was like wide open. It seemed damn near unsafe for them planes to be right there like that.
I guess, like, I mean, probably needed where it's at now just because of how big it is and how many people fly through here and shit. But I'm sure that was definitely, like, interesting to grow up right there.
Hell yeah. It was definitely something to remember.
Yeah. What about, like, I feel like whenever I do interviews and people talk about Montbello, like, the crossings and the Albricks are, like, two of, like, the main, like, apartments that people grew up in. Like, did you spend any time there, or do you, like, what would you consider, like, the main apartments and stuff that people stayed in Montbello?
You know, you had the crossings, you had the Devonshires and the Albricks, and, you know, that's just, you know, everybody know about them. You know what I'm saying? It was going down, you know what I'm saying? I never lived there personally in those, you know what I mean? But I had friends who lived in those apartments, and we always spent time over there, you know what I mean? So it was part of the culture, you know, the Montbello culture. Like, we didn't have projects, you know what I'm saying? That was the closest thing to a project.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it really was the mentality. It was the mentality of the people. It didn't matter how the apartments looked. You know, they wasn't no little cute apartments.
Right.
They wasn't no projects. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But it was some real gangsters and hustlers that came up out of there, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people say like Colorado hoods, like they don't look like you said, like normal projects, what have you, when you go to other cities.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I feel like you live out here, you realize that it's different. Like, they might look somewhat nice, and like you said, they don't look fucking crazy nice, but
right.
you know, like they still don't look like real, like, I don't know, for example, like when I was in Atlanta, like, you know what I'm saying, some projects look like straight bandos and shit like that.
Hell yeah.
Even in like Pueblo, like, even though that's
Sure.
closer, you know.
Hell yeah.
What do you think's to that? Like, I guess just Colorado keeping up with the apartments and stuff like that, keeping them, you know, looking nice.
I mean, the thing is when you think about it, like how we talked about how like places like the East Side and Park Hill and those type of places was built before Montbello, and then so, you know, the more modern houses start coming up,
Right.
and so I'm pretty sure people's parents wanted to move to better places. They think they moving to better
Right.
places, so this turns out to be like a place where a lot of, you know, people who, you know, come from, you know, don't really have a great financial background or nothing,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Middle class, lower class people trying to get away from the hood because it's a lot of shit going on, the gangs and all of that shit. But all they did was just kind of, you know, bring some hood niggas together. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
would you say that kind of happened in Aurora too?
hell yeah. Aurora is a very reputable stomping ground,
Yeah.
and it's huge. You know what I'm
Aurora's
saying?
big, yeah.
It's huge, and they got so many elements to the streets, like out there, just like from damn near anywhere on Colfax to certain apartments that, you know, was really popular and, you know,
Right.
known for a lot of street shit happening.
Right.
Hell yeah.
What about like the staples of Montbello? You know, I feel like one of the main ones is like Crown Market. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I shoot videos and stuff, people are always like, "Oh, let's do it at Crown."
Yeah.
And then you got Falcon Park, I believe.
Yeah. It's Maxwell Park.
What are like some of the staples of Montbello, or like the places that people used to kick it at, and you know what I'm saying?
Shit. Coming up, it was, you know, people would be at Maxwell Park, aka Falcon Park. People would go to Silverman Park, you know. It was well known. And then they had No Name Park, you know what I'm saying? And so for the most part, a lot of those spots is, you know, when you mention parks. And then you got the front, the liquor store in the front off of Peoria and Albrook, like that area over by where the Albrook apartments, the Devonshires was. And then you got, obviously, Crown Market. Like we said, you know, that's a home base. You know what I'm saying? And then
you got like the mural on the back.
Yeah, and then the liquor store on Chambers by the Safeway, where the Safeway was. There was a Safeway back there, and so just like, you know, there's certain areas that's, you know, significant staples.
Has the Crown Market always been there, from what you can remember?
It was back in the day. It was shop and go, but Crown Market ever since I would say in middle school, you know, Crown Market opened. It was the era that it was in, and it was like we was outside as youngsters. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people in my area, you know, I used to live like in the 55th area from, let's say, Uvalde down to 56.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you'll say Uvalde, Maxwell, you got 51st, 56, just all in that certain area. A lot of us who grew up in that area, we always catch each other at Crown Market, and
Yeah.
it's just was it was the only little convenience store in that area. You know what I'm saying? So it was
Right.
popping, and it was just added to the culture because that's where we be around there. You know what I'm saying?
How long has the mural on the back always been there? Or
Nah, they put the mural on there some years back. It might have been 2019 or 21 of them, but yeah, it was that was exciting. Like to just even be a part of that, to get acknowledged, and just for the people. Shout out to the Struggle of Love. You know what I'm saying? They well connected and just been add value to the community, and so for them to reach out to us and acknowledge us and give us our flowers,
right,
for being a part of the movement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We part of the culture out there.
I thought it was dope because I've seen a lot of videos with that mural, and you see that in other cities, but I feel like you don't see. You see murals and stuff. You go down like the 5 Points and stuff, and they got like the alleys.
Yeah.
But like that one stuck out to me just because it was like Montbello. It was like about the neighborhood and stuff, and I feel like you don't see that too much out here. Like at least celebrating like the city itself and stuff. Now shout out the Nuggets. They just won the chip, so they have that Nuggets mural. That was dope. And they got Broncos and stuff. But that was cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Did you play for the Falcons, the Montbello Falcons growing up?
Yeah, growing up, I played for the Falcons. I think I started playing when I was about 7 years old. You know what I mean? It was a great experience just growing up, getting to, build relationships, and that's where I met a lot of dudes, a lot of good people, and learned how to hit hard. And it was a beautiful time back then when we was doing sports and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Did you play any sports, or was it just football?
I played football, then I played a little baseball, and I played basketball at the rec center, the Montbello Rec Center. So shout out to Coach Kathy. We was called the Dream Team. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we had some ballers on there. Ike played on the team too.
That's dope,
Yeah, he was on the same team growing up. You know what I mean? So.
How long did you play sports? Did you ever want to play professional sports or anything?
Hell yeah. I thought I was gonna be the dude. You know what I'm saying? Them sports. I wanted to play football professionally. I was a little uncoordinated with the basketball. I was good though. You know what I'm saying? That football shit was. I wanted to do that. I got hurt when I was like 12 though. You know what I'm saying?
What kind of injury was it?
I was just so good with the football. I had took off for a year, and then the next year the coach, was trying to get me to play, and I'm like, I don't want to play. He asked me again if I wanted to play. I'm like, yeah. But obviously I was out of shape. Shit.
Because you stopped for a year?
Yeah, so I ended up going head on with somebody.
Oh,
kind of fucked me up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like concussion and shit?
Yeah, he rocked me. And I don't know what the fuck it was. I didn't even go to the hospital, but I was fucked up. And that was the end of that. I didn't want to play that no more.
Yeah.
And, I just started playing the streets. I was just out there at 12. That's when all that shit.
What position were you in football? My bad.
I was a running back, a safety, and a third string quarterback, and a wide receiver.
So you played a lot of positions.
I played in different positions.
So when would you say I know you brought up the early music memory of you throwing up on the record player, but what would you say was the first moment or the light bulb in your head that kicked off when you were like, damn, I think I want to get into music? What was that first moment like, and when was that? How was that? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, as far as I can remember, it really started more with beatboxing. Me and my brother used to beatbox, and we used to watch the Fat. We used to always watch the Fat Boys. It was this little movie called The Fat Boys. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but yeah. So growing up, I was more into the b-boy shit and breakdancing and shit. So growing up, like when I lived
heard of the b-boy stuff for sure. But.
Yeah. So when I lived on the east side, we used to always break dance and shit. Like we'd get a cardboard box. You know, this was a thing for kids in the neighborhood.
Would you say it was more popular than rapping at that time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, beatboxing and shit like that. But then rapping started getting a little more popular. But yeah, it was like beatboxing. That's how it kind of just started, and then just I say by 1990 and shit like that, you had younger groups like the Boys and ABC, Another Bad Creation, and Criss Cross, and it was inspirational for people of my age and shit.
Yeah.
Like dancing and shit, having dance routines and shit was kind of popular, and motherfuckers would do performances at talent shows at school and shit. So we, everybody back then, y'all dressed similar and do the talent show. You know what I'm saying? So that was just all of that, just the culture of that just helped build into the point to where just kind of being into music and then gravitating to like street music. You had like Tupac back then, you had E40 and shit like that. All the 92 shit, the Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and all that stuff coming out, and even Ice Cube and all of that. So I'm like in an era like during that, but it didn't start in my era, what I'm saying, like with NWA and all of that. So it was influential. So a lot of groups had acronyms and shit, You had NWA, you had a group out here called BMW, Brothers Most Wanted, you had Black Hole Posse, BHP, and the acronym shit was, like how when I refer to Main Street and shit, ABC, Another Bad Creation. So that's kind of all that coincide with MNLD. You know what I'm saying? So, but with the music, like when Another Bad Creation and Criss Cross, I could say, kind of really sparked it. Like me and my partner started writing raps, and
just like pen and paper type.
Yeah, I'm just in class, like 5th grade, shit like that. 19 years old, in there, supposed to be working, and so when we go to recess and shit like that, and we rapping our rap to each other over there. You know what I'm saying, in the sand. And that's kind of how that began to spark, and it just gradually, you feel me, just stay connected to it. Just being, having that outlet was important, you know what I'm saying, where you're going through shit, you know what I'm saying?